Former Eskom CEO Brian Dames says our energy transition will require massive input from renewable energy. Dames, who left Eskom in 2014, says engagements such as the World Economic Forum in Davos are important to demonstrate to the world that we do have the solutions needed to address the power crisis. Dames now heads African Rainbow Energy. He spoke with our Business Editor Xolani Mbanjwa at a pre-WEF business breakfast where our delegation met to craft a united message at the World Economic Forum 2023.
Well, South Africa is getting ready to go to Davos 2023, and a number of businesses and the political leaders and civil society are headed to Davos to sell the country. And here with me is Brian Dames, who is the CEO of African Rainbow Energy, to talk to me about what is so important about the World Economic Forum that so many people, Mr. Dames, thank you for joining us, see such gatherings as junkets that lead to nowhere. In your view, why is it so important for South Africa to always be at the forefront of the World Economic Forum?
I think, firstly, thank you. I think it's important we're part of a global economy, and that globe is all interlinked, whether we like it or not. We're also a very important part of the South African continent, and it's very important as Africans that we put forward all the opportunities in South Africa. South Africa's got a unique history, it's got a unique character, one of a great sense of resilience where we come from and where we're going, and it's very important to tell that story and to show to the world that resilience and optimism and opportunity both from business, government, and be part of that global community.
Mr. Dames, you left Eskom many years ago to join the private sector, and this particular company in the renewables space. There's been a lot of talk about how important renewables are going to be in the just energy transition, and the President has spoken about that. How far are we in catching up to the rest of the world when it comes to the sector that you are involved in as Africa Rainbow Energy?
I mean, firstly, as a country, we certainly have seen one of the highest penetration of renewable energy into the electricity system than most other countries. Second point is our renewable programs in South Africa has been absolutely world class, and we should not get away from that. The third point is that we have clear regulations that has been put in place that really removed all the hurdles around investment. So African Rainbow Energy, certainly, we want to be an African energy champion, focusing in South Africa and focusing on clean energy. Build a modern utility using new technologies, using the resources that we have, both in terms of technology and young people to be able to work in the energy sector. Technology has made that possible. We're the largest funder of renewables, one of the largest funder of renewables in the country. We have just rolled out the first large-scale renewable projects for private sector companies. Those are currently under construction. And many of us talk about what is not possible. We can't be quiet and just execute. So our first project has taken 6 months from when we signed the power purchase agreement to having construction start. All of this is possible, and it's happening. And it's very important that we focus on the sector. Now, why renewables? Why? It's clean. It takes a very short time to build. And for South Africa, we should add, and we have an abundance of sun and wind energy. We need to deal with our infrastructure such as the grid, and hence our focus on building a modern utility that focuses on the power sector. African Rainbow Energy is now currently got over 2,000 megawatts of awarded projects that we're busy implementing.
That is quite commendable indeed. Before I let you go, sir, you left Eskom more than 10 years ago, and it was in a better situation than it is today. Looking at it today, what would you, as a former leader, say it needs more than anything? The one thing, that would not be a silver bullet, but the one thing that you do think is needed on top of halving its debt?
Yeah, I think it's very difficult for me to comment. I haven't commented on the company because I think the company should comment on itself. It's difficult for outsiders to comment, and I'm certainly an outsider. The government has announced a plan last year that is very clear. It had two very clear objectives. One is to deal with the energy crisis, we need to make sure the capacity that we have is working. Secondly, we need to add new capacity. That's the essence of the plan. I've commented and said that the plan is absolutely correct. It's about implementation on both sides. How do we get what we currently have to work, and how do we make sure that the new investments happen? On that side, we as African Energy play quite an active role. And so whether you run a government, whether you run a TV station, whether you run any company or a spaza shop, people is always the essence of it. And we do have South Africans that can deal with the first part. I mean, how do you make sure that we currently have works? And I'm sure that focus is intensely there, and I'm sure that will be addressed.
Mr. Brian Dames, thank you very much for your time, sir. He is the CEO of the African Rainbow Energy in the renewables space, talking to us ahead of the World Economic Forum, the pre-WEF Business Breakfast, where the South African delegation is crafting its message that it is going to send to the rest of the world during the World Economic Forum. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Xolani Mbanjwa in Sandton, Johannesburg.